Yep, 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 yep. Alright, so firstly, I have an announcement to make. On this Friday, during the lesson, we are going to do a grammar and grammar quiz. So, as usual, we will have some grammatical items which are quite easy, and then we will have a short piece of comprehension passage, and sorry, and it would be a very short quiz, which is about one less than or about 20 minutes. We will be doing it through a Google form. I have set all the, I have done the form myself, so that shouldn't be much problem with the technical stuff. And the topic of the quiz would be on cause and effects, which is Unit 7. Oh, I forgot to share my screen. So if you forgot what we have talked about in cause and effects, you should probably have a quick review on it on Friday. And we will do a little bit of quick revision as well before we start on Friday. But it would be really nice if you can revise on your own. So you can check it on Google Classroom if you do not have the grammar book with you. So everything should be up there. Alright, so today we continue with the social issue, and this time, after talking about all the basic concepts and then consider some examples and learn some vocab. Actually, we weren't just doing the vocab thing for social issues. So we talk about different issues. We learn how to write some common social issues like poverty, and then we also talk about things like binge drinking, drug abuse, etc. So this time, after doing so much vocabulary stuff, it's time for us to turn back to more tailor-made to a writing syllabus, because the electives in our senior curriculum, it would be mainly focused on the writing paper. The other papers just don't have that much into it, but the writing paper specifically has topics, I would say, has topics related to these electives. And then our school, each school would pick about 2 to 3 electives to teach, and then our school has picked the social issue, which is quite popular. Alright, so firstly, because we are learning how to do the writing, so we start with the thinking process. The first thing you do is you read the question, and then you find out in what way, in what direction you should be able to do this writing stuff. Sorry, where is my file? Let me try. Is it working? Oops. Okay, good. This is a form I created like years and years ago. It is actually, I did this form after I finished studying my teaching professional certificate for English and liberal studies. So I actually know something about LS as well. And then this is called the issue-based inquiry. Issue-based inquiry. And then what we are doing here is actually we analyze every social issue in more or less the same manner. So when you get a social issue on hand, the first thing you can think about would be the facts. So something that is true, or something that you can see, something you have information, you have figures, you have numbers about the facts. So of course, starting with what we have learned in social issue, we have done this part. What is the issue? How to write the definition, we have done that part. And then the second part is the causes, which we are going to talk about today. And then hopefully, if we still have time, we'll cover a bit about the effects, the consequences. What would the social issues lead to? What problems will arise? And then finally, how severe the problem is. So you probably would need some figures and examples. And then we have done that. We have done that as well. Last time we have looked at a number of newspaper reports which are directly quoting examples or numbers. So we have done 2 parts already, and then we are on to the other 2. I wrote this a long time ago, but it's the same with your book. It's the same with your book. Your book actually has the same thing. So I'm really surprised because the teacher who did your elective booklet actually think very much alike with me. These are some big words, very big words, but they don't mean anything. They are just giving you a direction. So if you don't know all these words, if you don't know how to spell these words, not a problem. Just shows you how you can consider the causes and the effects of an issue. So these, I call them the macro perspectives. 一啲嘅宏觀嘅方向，宏觀嘅一啲嘅睇法。So these boxes can be considered values， 全部咧都係一啲人嘅價值觀，係啲人嘅諗法 ，OK， 或者係佢哋對個 issue 嘅一啲嘅角度，佢哋用佢哋嘅身份，用佢哋自己嗰個立場去睇 ，OK，It's different from facts. Yes. Oh, Klaus is coming. Yep.
Klaus is outside the room.
Yep. Thank you. So it's opposite to facts. Facts are things that we can see. We have the dictionary meaning. We have we know why, or we have some research. We have survey to talk about to support. However, values are not. Values are just how or what some people think. And then it's really useful when we are talking about social issues. In other topics, other than social issues, we mainly consider the facts. For example, if we are writing just an article about a case, like commercialized Christmas, for example, unmarried women in Hong Kong, for example, those are factual things. We just need to talk about the things that we see. We see on the society, we see things that we see on the internet, or things on the news. But if you want to add more substance, if you want to add another layer of complexity, or another layer of meaning, or express more of your thoughts, you go into the parts about values. And the first part about values would be the macro perspective. For example, physical vs psychological. 生理上嘅，心理上嘅。So you can think of an issue from different perspectives. 教育上嘅 educational， 科技上面嘅 technological， 或者咧係從public health。I want to change this word. Public health is better. public health 公共衛生. For example, now we are having a big challenge in these few months about the coronavirus. We can view it in a public health perspective. Economic 經濟上嘅 judicial 法制上嘅法治上嘅 political 政治上嘅 moral 道德上嘅 religious 宗教 cultural 文化 historical 歷史 and the final one international 全世界國際上嘅係點樣樣嘅呢? So these are things that people who study liberal studies, they would consider an issue from different angle. They talk about things. They look at what people think. They look at their thoughts in different perspective. They look at things from a personal, sometimes from that's what we call the micro perspective. They look at things from the individual side, just one person, or different groups of people like students, teachers, parents, local community, or the whole race. For example, all the Chinese people in the world, and maybe the public. So you can look at an issue in many different ways. Just to take an example, for example, if we are considering about the issue of drug abuse, you can do it from the personal and physical and psychological perspectives. 個人食咗藥之後，佢會有咩生理同埋心理嘅影響呢? For example, we can also consider it from students. Students go with educational, right? 學校嘅教育點樣去教導學生 turn away from drugs, say no to drugs, for example. Or educational don't go with parents, educational go with the government, for example. Then you have what the government should do, how the government should educate drug abuse, how to prevent drug abuse. Or parents, what can parents do if their students are found to take drugs, or they are suspecting their children of taking drugs? What should parents do? So no matter when you are talking about the causes, the effects, or the solutions, you can mix and match the different perspectives and then find out a way to think, to cut into this issue. So later on, when we are considering some questions in the DSE, we will come back to use this model to guide you to think. And then final part is, of course, after you have considered all the issues, causes, effects, consider all the examples, look at things in different ways, you want to suggest some solutions. And again, solutions, you can pick solutions from different perspectives. You don't need to you don't need to confine yourself to just one perspective. You can do it in quite a number of them. So this is what I call the LS, issue-based inquiry. So this is what here is talking about. So I'm not going to go over these because these are not related to the thinking process. So these are about the thinking process. These are just examples. So not so useful by reading them, but you can learn how to write examples. So for example, if you are talking about drug abuse, then you can write, for example, you said from an interview, okay? From a charitable organization. Of course, you put down the name of the charity organization, and then there was one interviewee called Mike, and then many of Mike's friends asked him to take drugs, so you can use exactly the same thing and then put it in third person, or you can use quotation marks and then quote directly like Mike is talking to us. So these are some ways we can do examples. But here they just want you to talk about the reasons for taking drugs, so I'm not going over one by one. So some reasons for taking drugs would usually include things like curiosity, some escape from reality. This one is common among quite a number of social issues. Especially personal problems. They want to escape from reality, want to 逃避現實. And then some just want to draw people's attention. They want people to care about them. And then for drug abuse, this one is really special because they are just bored, nothing to do. And this one is also very common among a number of teenage issues, the peer pressure, 朋輩嘅壓力. So I'm not going to talk about this. These are words that you should know already. Watch the videos Drugs Makes You Angry and write down the possible effects of drug abuse. I watched the video myself and it's not really that interesting. It's basically you see the people, you look at the photos of some people who took drugs and then compare before they take drugs, their face look much more handsome or beautiful, pretty, and then after they take drugs, their face looks really ugly, unhealthy, horrible. And some even have their faces look like there are some skin problems with their face. And it's not really that interesting to watch because they just show the photos of like 20 people like that. And there is no voiceover, no one talking in the video. So I'm not going to spend time watching it. So it just shows you want to show you the possible effects of taking drugs, including like skin problems, infections, mental damage, etc., etc. And also you see some more speech problems. They would not be able to speak fluently. For example, like maybe I have taken some drugs today. I'm not speaking very fluently, or maybe I'm just hungry. I don't know. And physical appearance surely get into problems. Look really bad. Mental problems look like they're crazy. And then this part is about the effects. We're just talking about different kinds of effects of using drugs. So these are quite useful for you to read if you are doing a very big survey, very big project on drug abuse. Otherwise, you probably would just need one or two of these. So you are not going to write a 400 essay with all the stuff talking about the effects. That would be too long. So you can have a read, but notice that they are doing it in different perspectives. For example, mental health problems would be about personal public health and public health. And then this would be about, again, your personal health. This one would be about social problem, social order and unrests, and also things like crimes, violence. And also, if you look at drug problems in another way, there are also social and economic costs. There are things you are losing laborers. You are losing laborers to these things. Hong Kong does not have a very big problem with this, but in some countries, even in China, many years ago, it could cause economic problems because people are just taking drugs. And then remember, if you have If you have studied Chinese history before, you remember the Opium War. Opium War, right? Do you know what's opium? The Opium War is the... Really? Die again? YouTube is dead? Oh no. Oh, okay. Is it working now? Oh yes. Sorry, my phone got into some problems. Alright. Yeah. So we are just talking about, we don't need to look at this too much. You can read it by yourself. Okay, just talk about some reasons for taking drugs, and also shows you how to write examples. And it's nothing difficult. Okay, where am I? Yeah, Opium War. So in China a long time ago, we've got people having taking opium. What's that? 鴉片, yeah. They take opium, and then where do they buy opium from? They don't have opium in China. They bought the opium from the English businessman. So it is not just a drug abuse, not just a health problem. It's also socially getting the Chinese, getting the country weaker and weaker, and also it also means a very big sum of money flowing into Britain, and then China just become poorer and poorer. So when we look at one issue, it can be on different basis, on different perspectives. So which perspective you choose depends on the question itself. Effects of drug abuse. So there could be a lot of them. I don't think I'm talking about it one by one. You can read it yourself. So for example, like high physical health, for example, like high blood pressure, the hands shaking, skin problems, etc. Yeah, why don't I just write down very quickly? Skin infections, high blood pressure, and also what else? Hands shaking. No, I mean shaking hands. Shaky, better shaky, not shaking. Shaking hands would be something like 握手. Okay, shaky hands, not shaking hands. Mental health would be hallucination. 有幻覺啦. You got illusions, hallucinations, and also you could nervous problem. This one is very big. 神經系統嘅疾病啦. Nervous problem. And then also you could get become very withdrawn, passive. 好被動啦，咩都唔想講啦，咩都唔想做啦 withdrawn. Okay, so there are not many. If I have to list them, I could use an hour. But anyway, that's enough. Oh, there are more. Drug users family. Yeah, it tells you not just the personal level. So this is just the personal physical health, personal mental health. But you can also talk about it in the family level and social level, government, economic level, and then the public health level. So I'm not talking about it one by one. Practice 2 on poverty. I don't think I need to talk about it. So what are the causes of living difficulties of poor people? Why did that happen? We talked about it last time, so I'm not going to repeat. If you want to look at the part about poverty, we have actually covered it 2 times already. You can watch the YouTube video again if you forgot. Again, you can think about the poverty problem on medical level, economic level, or I don't really like the word level. Better use the word perspective, right? I taught you to use the word perspective. Better word. It's much better word. You can even use this word in in your writing. Perspective. Although it's not the best choice, but you can start a paragraph with like in an economic perspective, for example. In an economic perspective, drug abuse. So you can start a paragraph like this. It's totally fine. Of course, make sure you don't do this for every single paragraph. It's going to get really boring. And then this one is about minimum wage, 最低工資啦. And we have talked about it in speaking lessons in 2019. So I'm not going to repeat it again. So it comes to some useful expressions for identifying causes and effects. These are quite good words, but they are a little bit difficult. Excuse me. These words are a bit difficult, but there are some that you can use. We don't always use caused by or resulting in, but these two, if you are really good at English and you know what you are doing, you can try these two. But they are not so common. Again, these are not so common, but the good ones again are the most difficult ones. The contributing factor 真正咧導致嗰樣嘢個因素 we call it the contributing factor 或者咧係個問題嘅根源 the root of the problem or the root of the situation of the case is So these are really good, but you need to know what you're doing. But at our level, these are things that you can surely do. We learned it last time when we talked about the grammar book. And of course, you know these since primary school. As for courses, these are quite okay. 乜嘢會導致啲乜嘢 Okay, these two. And give rise to is also okay, but give rise to in some situations you cannot use give rise to. So it's to be universal, these two are the best ones. So usually I ask my students to remember these two. If you know what you're doing and your English is really good, you can also vary your sentence pattern with 2 more. But this one, please don't use this one. Please don't. Don't say it may cause. I have never ever seen any well-written articles to contain these clause. Don't use this, please not. Again, these are no good. No good. This is okay. Is a result or is a consequence of, is the same thing. Can have a serious impact. There is one word missing here, so I should add it back. Impact can have a serious impact， 一個好嚴重嘅壞嘅影響。I told you before, this word impact means a negative influence. They are okay, they are not the best choices. And sometimes if you want to start a paragraph suddenly talking about the effects that you are following from the last paragraph. So for example, in paragraph 2, you have talked about a cause of drug abuse, okay? And then in the next paragraph, you want to talk about the effects. Then you can use these phrases as a linking conjunction. But I don't like them very much. If you can avoid them, you can avoid them. There are always better choices. They are okay, they are not bad, but not good either. So these are some phrases that you can use. So just talking about this gets you nowhere, right? So let's look at some examples. Does it work? No, not working. No, still not working. Gosh, what's happening? Okay. Alright. Should be fine now. What is this? This is a table I did a number of years ago with my students when I taught them how to write an article about drug abuse. Our school doesn't have this piece of writing as homework, but it's quite a common topic in other schools. So how do you write a paragraph in the DSE writing for social issues? It's usually we start with thinking about an idea or an argument first. So after thinking in the macro and the micro perspectives, you finally think about some facts and then values of people. You got your direction, you know what you are trying to do, you know what kind of stuff you want to get across, what meaning you want to get across in your writing. Then you can start making your idea into sentences and paragraphs. So for example, in my mind, I want to say the idea is just 3 words: affect daily life. Okay, what are the effects? Okay, what are the effects, for example, for drug abuse? So my first is not reason. Why did I put reason? I should put course or effect. Okay, it's not reason. For example, I want to talk about the effects of drug abuse is affecting daily life. So the first step we want to do is, of course, to get this idea across. To get this idea across, we need some vocab. So how? In what sense? What daily life? Daily life, which part? So we need some vocab. So you try to brainstorm some vocabulary. So you start with one single simple idea, stem out like a mind map into different examples of daily life. So say for example, social skills, you can lose control, some people after they take drugs they harm themselves, and also they could get a criminal record, and they cannot they cannot take some jobs, and also it's harming their mental health. So to say, so there are number of possible sub ideas, smaller examples, and then we start with our topic sentence. So the topic sentence go with just this idea. Put this idea as part of the topic sentence. And topic sentence, I told you before, all you need is the topic plus this idea. So this is the idea, and your topic is drug abuse. So two things. So any words that mean drug abuse can be your topic. Okay? So, and then, for example, I use a passive voice. So this is the topic. The drugs, right? It's talking about drug abuse. So this is the topic. And then the idea is addicts' daily life, okay, is seriously affected. So this is already a topic sentence. And to make your topic sentence look even more grand, even higher level, you can put some efforts. Try to open your vocabulary book and then get a page to jot down these kinds of adverbs. It makes your writing a lot more sophisticated. It makes it look like your English is much better than other people, and then your ideas really carry your meaning. So especially for some of you who are already really good at LS, you could try to get your message across with the help of these adverbs. So addicts' daily life is seriously affected by the drugs, okay? Or addicts' daily life, even stronger, is recurrently affected by the drugs. 佢哋嘅日常生活啊，唔係只係嚴重咁簡單啊，仲係不斷重複地啊，無可自拔地啊 ，recurrently 無可避免地 unavoidably. Okay, there are a lot of these words that you can actually make from adjectives. So adjectives are just words that you know, common, right, general, unavoidable. They are not difficult words. But when you put at the ly and put it inside your topic sentence, it adds a much stronger degree of meaning, and then it gets your voice across. If you remember what I've talked about, what is the difference between a level 5 and level 4 writing would be a level 5 student write it.
Yeah, better device.
I know, but you know, I'm a very frugal person. I'm not used to spending a lot of my money, and my router still works most of the time. And because I have actually 4 people in my family, so if I buy a router that is too cheap, it's not going to be able to support my home. So even for my current router, when I bought it like 2 to 3 years ago, it worth like $800. Even it was already on sale. So if I need to buy a new one, and then it has to support the current usage, probably I need to spend like $1,000, maybe $1,300 to buy a new router. So I didn't want to spend so much. And you know, especially in these few months, the price of technological things, games, computer equipment do not fall. They are even somewhat rising. So I just want to stay put as long as possible. So hopefully it's not too much a fuss. I'll see what I can do. Anyway, come back here. Yeah, the ly adverbs are really good. Try them. And also use passive voice. If you write every paragraph's topic sentence in the same way, it's gonna be really boring. Use passive voice also helps you look great. So especially these verbs like affected, influenced by will be really great. Of course, you can also use the gerund as subject. So you can have taking drugs, this would be the topic. Unavoidably pushes the addicts to an abnormal daily life. Put adjectives. What kind of daily life? What is it like? Abnormal. Okay, not normal at all. And then it pushes them. Okay, the drugs pushes them. It's not the drugs make them. Don't use the verb make. Don't use make. Use these. Use these. Leads to, results in, push them to, force them to. These are stronger.